wanna get high, man?
Let's stimulate your mind.
Get up, Chucky! What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
Rojan Kim.
Hello, and welcome to the Rojan Kimcast. It's me, Rojan Kim. Thank you so much for joining me for episode 212. It's November. We are past the election. Everything's settled. Whew. All right. The national nightmare has ended, and a new national nightmare can begin. So I hope everybody is ready to sally forth and get on with life, huh? Well, actually, we can't get on with life because we're in a pandemic, and lockdowns are imminent, guys. What's going on nowadays? Huh? What's going on? Cases are skyrocketing. That's what they're saying. Haven't you seen the graphs, the scary graphs? So the numbers are going higher and higher. And I will admit, graphs are scary. I got caught up in scary graphs back in February. It was like, it's the exponential growth. Exponential growth, it's coming. Oh, you'll see. It's coming. It's coming. And then, I was posting the graphs and the projections, and I'm like, it's coming. And I was getting ready. I'm like, we're all going to die. And I was ready. And then nobody died. What? I mean, not nobody. I mean, sure, 300,000, whatever they're saying, the same amount of people die in car accidents died. Okay, yeah, sure, they died, but not like what they're projecting, 2 million. I mean, they were projecting bodies choking the streets, morgues filled up, you know what I mean? Like just hospital bed, just people being triaged on the streets. But we still haven't seen any, there's been no footage anywhere of any country of massive amounts of people dying. There have been some body bags and stuff, but not what they were saying. And I don't know. At some point when it's not what they're saying, you have to start waking up, right? I mean, it's just like, look, I'm bringing it back to marijuana, but it's just like weed. It's just like weed. They tell you it's bad, it's evil, it's this and that until you actually experience it and you go, what? No, it's not. Okay. So then you have to start looking into things yourself. You can't trust the authorities. I don't understand why people trust the authorities. Personally, I don't get it, right? The same people, you're like, all right, the same people that are all racist systemically, there's systemic racism everywhere. The entire system is racist, but that's why we need to enforce a mask mandate and a lockdown by the state, by the same racist state. Yeah, by that state. Okay, I don't understand people's, I do understand people's willingness to be ruled over. Okay, I get it. I do, because it's fear. I mean, fear has been the operating principle of our survival. Okay, I think it's time to just accept that. That's just like a reality. Okay, and you can really control people through fear of the unknown, and you can get them to do all kinds of crazy things just to mitigate fear, right? That's really all it is. And it's very, illustrative of what we are as people. We are essentially pack animals, okay? We're, on one hand, we can be sheep. We can be anywhere from sheep to wolves. You know what I mean? We could be both sheep and wolves. We are essentially social pack animals. We look to cues from our leaders. We want people to tell us what to do. We're all doing things for the greater good, and this is all stuff that most people believe in. Most people believe that this is a thing. We're all, listen, we're locking down. We're wearing masks. We're doing the thing. We're doing everything we can to try to mitigate the damage. All the logic is there, protecting other people, this and that. But then at some point you have to understand that people get sick no matter what. The people will there's no way you can 100% protect yourself from a microbe. Do you understand that? Like, you could do everything correctly. You can social distance, you could lock yourself up, you could wear a mask, you could be wearing a mask indoors, you could have everybody wear masks around you. It doesn't matter. You could still get it. See, it's not 100%. Nothing is 100%, right? There's still whatever. How effective are masks really? You don't even know. And not only that, is basically what you're saying is you're trying to say that the only vector of transmission would be a human being in the room, in the same vicinity. But is that, it's in the air. It's in the air. Like, it is in the air. Is it or isn't it? If it's not in the air, why are we wearing masks? So let's accept that it's in the air. And if it's in the air, it can get you anywhere. It doesn't really matter at that point. I'm not saying let's not wear masks. I'm not saying let's all just go out and start fucking French kissing homeless people, even though that would probably make you more immune. Why aren't there dead prisoners and homeless people in droves? Why not? Could it be because that they're immune just like they are normally to disease because they're sort of like all cooped up together? Could it be? Well, that brings me to fucking Asia. People are saying Asia. Look at what Asia did. Look at how they did so well. Look at how they all wore masks. They all this and that. Yeah, but could it also be that they all got it already? They're all fucking super tightly close together. This thing ran through before anybody knew it was a thing. It was already running through the world. It kind of makes sense that Asians would, not only are they good at being conformist and all doing the thing that you should do and apply a lot of social pressure to each other, but also they might have all already had it. They're also densely packed together, very densely packed together. Northern climate, especially the East Asians, and then it kind of moved into India now, and it seems to be a cyclical thing. God, am I going to talk about coronavirus this whole time? No, I don't want to do that. I'm just talking about how sometimes you can't help what happens. Like nature happens. You as a human being can only do so much, and it's okay to relinquish some power sometimes. I mean, I think religious people have it right because they can pray and say that this is not up to me. There's a higher power. You can kind of like put it on somebody else. It's worse when you're a complete secularist who only believes in science and politics. That's like your new religion, right? I mean, it's worse for them because they have to believe that people are the answer. That people have the best thing in mind. And, and I think that religion gave us a much needed source of humility. You know what I mean? Like a way of going through the world without being like, yeah, we got this. We could figure it all out because we don't got this, guys. We don't got it, but we don't not have it either. I mean, there's like more than us than there ever have been, we think. So we're doing all right. We haven't nuked ourselves. There's a virus, but is it really, really killing us? Like, for instance, smoking. I mean, look, it's not the same. It's not the same. I understand. Smoking is not the same. It's not the same, okay? But I'm just saying in terms of killing us, it's fucking killing us, okay? Cancer, like these things are killing us. You could do everything in your life to avoid cancer, but you might get it, okay? I mean, and that's the end of the podcast. All right. You know what you could do? You could buy some Bitcoin, all right? I'm going to just say, buy some Bitcoin or at least look into it. Look at it. Price is going up, okay? It's up to 16,000 something now. It's good. It's going up. It's going up. It's going to hit its all-time high of 20,000, and from there, who knows, okay? Could dip back down. It probably will dip back down, but it might skyrocket after that. The thing about Bitcoin is that you got to listen. It's like all about like, what is it? Buy the rumors, sell the news, right? So Bitcoin is out there. Bitcoin is, people are talking about it. Countries are starting to use it. Corporations are starting to add it to their treasuries. Celebrities are going to start talking about it. It's becoming more and more ubiquitous, right? And the logic of it makes sense because you can see that the only way out of these lockdowns is for stimulus to happen, and that means printing money. And that means the value of your money going down. Right? Value of currency going down. So then people are going to start moving currency into other things that retain value better. Makes sense. Something that's happened throughout the years, throughout the ages. I think the traditional stores of value have been gold, land, and art. Those are the things. Because, you figure these are all things that'll gain in value as I get older, right? But it'll gain in value. And the thesis for Bitcoin is simple. It's there's only a finite amount, 21 million, that can ever be made. It's not fully made yet, but it will happen. But as the supply increases, so will demand, which will then drive supply down, which will then drive the price up. So at some point, Bitcoin as a store of value becomes logical, as long as you believe in sound money and stuff like that. It becomes logical, and as long as, there isn't something like a complete solar flare or something like that. I mean, if there's a solar flare, I've talked about this before. I think if there's a solar flare and all the machines go down, I mean, it's guns, right? Wait, this is deja vu from last time. Well, I stand by it. Okay, I stand by it. So the price of Bitcoin's going up. The cases are going up. The graphs are amazing. There's a whole thing of that, like, what is a case, right? A lot of the people, here's who I'm listening to, in case you're like, what the fuck is going on? I'm listening to Alex Jones. I'm listening to Richard Spencer. No, here I'm listening to Tom Woods. I found him to be very reasonable person about this whole thing. Ron Paul's another one that I've been listening to, just looking at all the data and stuff like that. And it's not like even Alex Jones is not saying that the virus is a hoax. You know, none of those people are saying it's a hoax. What they're saying is that the way we're dealing with it is not based on science per se. It's a hard this is a very nuanced thing, because it's not that we shouldn't do anything. It's not that nothing should happen. It's not, you know, it's very easy to form this binary argument of like, it's all or nothing, right? And that's not really, I don't know. I think that what that does is it makes it so you can't have any discussion, because then you're basically on the forces of life and death, and you're like death versus life, you know. And if it's gonna come to that, I'm gonna choose death. Okay, I am, because it's gonna win. But that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about here is weighing harms. Okay, I was not denying that there's a harm going on, but we have to weigh them, right? Because you can't let one harm create multiple harms all across society. Like, what the fuck is that, right? Well, I mean, like, should we destroy all of society just to protect the vulnerable? To protect, you know, is that something that logically even makes sense? I mean, it doesn't make sense, really. It's like, would you destroy everybody in your household to protect one person, to protect grandma, right? Make sure that nobody, you know, and people are good. People are naturally good. You know, they want to help. It's not like they want to go out and kill everybody. They want to help, right? It's very easy to become tribal, especially now when everybody's whipped up in fear. I hear this from my Democrat friends. You know, they think Republicans are like a death cult, and they want people to die. I'm like, okay, yeah, they want people to die. Okay, well, where were the Democrats when all these homeless people popped up? You know, like, anyways, I'm not gonna get into it. Politics is over. It's over. Okay. I just think that there's a lot of data that's very contrary to everything that people are saying. Like, for instance, that mask wearing will crush the virus. Like, masks, if only we wore masks, we would crush the virus. Well, people are wearing masks, and the virus isn't being crushed. Then they go, look at Asia. They crushed the virus, and, you know, like I said, they're very dirty. They might have already had it. I mean, that's really a thing. It's a confounding variable. You have to admit they might have already had it. All right. I'm an Asian guy. I can say that, I guess, because I'm Asian. I don't know. Now Asian. Did you know that Asian is the new white? Huh? Did you know that? I mean, at least it's happening. Like I told you, you know, I've been labeled a banana, alt-right banana, your favorite alt-right banana. Okay. Andrew Yang, Andy No, the two Andys, who are the twin pillars of white supremacy in this country. The two Asian men holding up white supremacy in this country. You know, scores of white supremacists. Chanel Rion is on OANN, and so people are. It's an Asian woman, Lauren Chen, Melissa Chen, a lot of Chens in the sort of right of center, or I don't know what you'd even call them, libertarians. I don't know what they are. They just don't bend the knee to the Democrats, and then they get labeled white supremacists. That's basically what they get labeled. They get labeled Nazi. I see this on Twitter all the time. They just call them, white people love to call Asians Nazis as soon as Asians don't fall in line. It's just something they love. They just love it. I don't even see that many, but of course on Twitter you have no idea who anybody is racially, so I'm just going to go by their avatar and choice of language, you know. Although if I did go by that, a lot of white people are sort of sounding black, so, or by sounding black I just mean like they type Ebonics, you know. They just it's like everything, there's no fucking conjunctions and shit. Everything is they be this and they be that, and I'm like, really guys? Really? And I guess so then yes, okay, I'm white supremacy. I'm systemic racism. I'm the guy trying to enforce white norms. I'm not trying to enforce anything. I'm just saying it's just, come on, really? Come on, you white guys. White people, they're so, okay. They're fine. White people have been, some of the best people in my life have been white. Some of the best. They've helped me tremendously. I mean, probably has something to do with being in this country where there's lots of white people. You know, if I was in another country, I'm sure those people would help me too. Maybe not Koreans, because they're known to turn on each other, but other white people, maybe. If I was in Scotland, I saw that there are some Asians in Scotland, and they probably sound hilarious, and I bet white people love them. And I don't know. Listen, I don't know. There's this thing. There's according to it's the North Thurston School District in Washington, the state of Washington. Asians are no longer people of color, so they have like these graphs, and they're like white Asian, and then they have people of color. As for their enrollment, to show the enrollment, so they group white and Asians together, people of color underneath. So that's interesting. So what is that about? I mean, it seems to be like a obviously it seems like it has to do with performance. So Asians are actually outperforming whites when it comes to test scores and whatnot, and so they get grouped with the white group because I guess there's a narrative of the systemic racism that so people of color need to be boosted up, and so Asians don't fit that mold, so then they can be grouped with whites, and then you can still say we still need to bolster up people of color, which goes to the whole reason why I voted against affirmative action coming back, right? Because there you go, there you have it. There you can see right there in that school district, right? And this is what we were talking about, education. They consider Asians to be equal, to be the same as whites, so that when they do affirmative action, they can take away some seats. They can take away some of those Asian seats, even though the Asians are only like 5% of the population, but they overrepresent in school because they do so well. We gotta knock them back. We gotta knock them down a little because we gotta boost up these other people of color, right? We gotta boost, like when you have a group of people, when you have people of color who solidly outperform everybody, they no longer fall into the rubric of people of color. It's like in order to be a person of color, you just can't do that well. I think that's really what it is. It's like once you do well, you are now white. Like, so that's really, I mean, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like when Asians in this country, and here's the thing, I'm not tribal. So I don't really believe in this we shit when we were and like I'm part of a larger diaspora of Asian America. Like I get it. I know where I'm from. I know where my family's from. I know the historical context behind it, but I don't have some racial unity with all Asians. Like I just don't have it. I mean, I don't have it with all Americans. I don't have it with all humanity. All right. I barely have it with my family. You want me to fucking have it with all Asians? Are you kidding me? Have you seen these guys? All right, I'm sorry. But look, when Asians were interned, okay, when they were interned, they were people of color, right? When they were fucking rounded up against their will and they were people of color. When they vote for Biden, they're people of color, right? Like that whole "you ain't black" thing. When you vote for Biden, you become the thing that you are. The color, your color is only possible if you vote Democrat. That's what the Democrats have told, especially other people of color. Asians typically aren't super democratic. Could that be why they've outperformed? I don't know. Asians lean conservative because of their stricter family values and their belief in business and all of that stuff. Could that have anything to do with it? No. Of course not. Right? Going along with the Japanese, the Japanese in America were interned. The Japanese in Japan were nuked. We nuked the shit out of them, right? We nuked them. We had a Chinese Exclusion Act. We stopped Asian immigration. Okay, there was segregation. We didn't let them do stuff. We killed Bruce Lee. Okay, we did all that. So back then they were people of color. Right? When we were at war, when we were murdering them systematically, when we were not even systematically, fucking with new weapons, future weapons, science weapons. When we were bestowing upon them the gift of science and technology through splitting the atom in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They were people of color. Now that they're killing the game, now that Asians are outperforming white people, now that they're making more money, now that they're thriving, now that they're crushing the coronavirus, they're white. They're what or whatever it is. I guess even whites. Well, whites are actually chomping at the bit to be lower on the totem pole. I mean, this gives them the opportunity. It gives them the opportunity to not be on top, so then to be hated by everybody. Like they'd be like, oh, they can let Asians could be way better at being white than whites. I mean, that's the Asian thing, right? Asians will take over. I don't know. They'll take your plans and make them better, right? That's what the stereotype is, right? They don't invent anything, but they can copy stuff and improve on it, and that's what they're good at. Like gunpowder. Remember how the Europeans invented gunpowder, and then the Chinese took it and improved upon it, and then conquered the whole world with it? Oh no, that's not what happened. It was the other way around. What Well, I better just ignore that because it doesn't fit into the narrative. Okay, we got to stick to the narrative, guys. The narrative is more important than reality, right? And that goes along with let's go back. We're going back. Call back. We're going to go back to the lockdowns, to coronavirus. It's an Asian episode, okay? Coronavirus, okay? The narrative is that there's a pandemic. People are dying left and right. They're everywhere. And you could have it, and you could be spreading it to people, and you could be killing people, okay? So what you got to do is don't just let everything crumble around us. Don't go to work. Stay home. Don't even be healthy. Don't be healthy. Always wear a mask. Just comply. What you need to do is comply, and everything will be fine, okay? It doesn't matter if the data isn't showing that. It doesn't matter at all. It's the narrative. Anybody who disagrees with the narrative is evil and wishes death on people. So just remember that. Keep it up. Okay? So you keep it up. You be scared as shit. Just scared. Be scared. Be scared as possible. Do things that are ultimately maybe a 50-50 in their effectiveness, but at least you feel safe, and then you can demonize other people who don't comply with the performative act. That way, you can be on the good side, they can be on the bad side. That way, when the culling comes and we're going to decide who's in and who's out, you will be in the in group. Okay, Asians are very good at this. That's why they do mask up. That's what, because they're like, all right, what do we? If you told them instead they needed blindfolds with dental floss, they would do it. They would do it, okay? I will comply. They would do that. If you told all the Asians that they have to say it like that, they can't even say it in their own language. They have to say it in a fake Chinese accent. Okay, I will comply. They would all do it, okay? All of Asia would fake a Chinese accent if they thought that that's what they needed to do to conform. Okay, just to get society rolling, civilization going on, because you understand it's very dense over there, very dense populations, very dense. So again, dirty people, right? And the viruses run rampant through them, and that's why. Maybe that's what we need to do. What if we were just all as dirty as Chinese and let the virus run rampantly? What if that's what it took? Huh? Maybe that's what it takes. I don't really know. I mean, I feel like then we'd be okay with the whole authoritarian thing, the whole coming Great Reset that's coming. You guys heard about that, right? The Great Reset, the Great World Economic Forum, huh? The Party of Davos. You know about those guys? The guys that build back better. The guys who have the same marketing for every single country in order to talk about what to do in a post-pandemic economy, how to get rid of cash, how to get rid of ownership, how to get rid of everything, making everything app-based, making everything trackable on your phone, just mass surveillance and data collection. That's what's happening. That's imminent. It's already here. It's just the pandemic seems to allow for it to go on even further. And in America, we had the whole election politicizing the virus and what to do about it, and both sides taking sides. So like one party becomes the side of this and one party becomes the side of that. It's absolutely retarded, because what does that have to do with public health? But it doesn't matter. To me, it proved, once the virus became politicized, I think that's when I knew, oh, this is fucking bullshit. Because if this was real, if this is really just wrecking everybody, like, what are you doing? Why would you take sides? You know what I mean? Why would you make this a political thing? So it just seems like, okay, it's not so serious. I mean, if this was literally just decimating people, there's no politics at that point. It's just like, we need help, right? But we have the privilege of having politics. We are so privileged in America that we were able to put politics on top of this virus like a little hat. Like coronavirus wore just a little MAGA hat, or wore a little, Biden shirt and a MAGA hat or something. We politicized the virus. That's how. See, China can't do that. China only has one party. They have one party, so there's no politics. You're either in or you're out. The cops can just get you, grab you. You know what I mean? It's just state rule, which is what people here are begging for. They're just looking at China and being like, please, please. Dude, I was at a friend's house and I was like, can you believe Newsom is imposing all these standards for Thanksgiving? Like, you can't sing or whatever. And then she was like, I want there to be more. I want there to be more rules. I just want to feel safe, people say. I've heard somebody else say, I just want more rules and people to feel safe. I just want to feel safe again. It's just like, really? You want to feel safe? That's what you want? You don't want to understand that death is imminent at any time? This also sounds like something I must have just said. Please go back to my last episode to listen to everything non-Asian. This is everything Asian is in this one. Okay, go back to Asians. I think that's what it is. People are looking toward Asia to see, like, this is what we need. This is what we should do. But guys, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. Here's how I know that white people and Asians are not the same. They're not. Asians are not white. I was over at my friend's house, and he has a 3-year-old kid, and at one point, and I guess, like, our dog scared the kid, and then they left him alone for a second, and then he got mad, and he just started wailing on his dad's face. You know, he just started wailing on it, like punching, hitting, and mom too, hitting, and like they just ignored it. They ignored it. I mean, they kind of like avoid, you know, and were like calming him down, whatever, but they ignored it. And it was like, and, you know, me and my lady, we're probably just both like, because we were raised by Koreans, you know, we were just like, just couldn't believe it. Just couldn't believe it. But we're not judging them. We're not saying, hey, we didn't say like, hey, you better do this. But, you know, it's not our place to whatever. I just know that just how we were brought up, right? So how we were raised. And it was like, you don't do that. So that's how I'll tell you. That's how I know Asians aren't white. You know, is it until I actually though, in China, you'd be surprised. Some of these little fucking kids that, you know, they had that one child policy for so long. There's all these like spoiled ass little brats. They get away with murder. They get to do anything. They could do anything. But there's still, see, China still has face. There's still Confucianism. There's still a little bit of that. Capitalism hasn't completely ruined everything, taken everything away. And plus, who am I? Hey, who am I to judge how you're gonna raise your kids, right? How you're gonna raise them? You're gonna raise them to be trans and pro. I don't know how they're not going to contribute to climate change. Like, I don't know what the thesis behind all of that is. A lot of my friends think the world is terrible and they're also procreating. So I don't get it. You know, I mean, it's kind of it's prestigious. You know what I mean? It's very prestigious to be able to say, the world is so awful and terrible, and then have babies. Right? Because most places people just have babies. They can't help it. And then the world is shit, but they have the baby anyway, and we all survive, and we get through life, and we do it. But here, we get to be like, wow, we live in a Nazi... The country's been taken over by Nazis, and we're all going to die from being drowned by the ocean in 5 years. But you know what? I'm going to have a baby, and I'm going to get diapers for the baby. And I'm going to... You know, that's fine. And I'm not saying, hey, don't procreate. I'm not against it. I'm probably not gonna. So someone's gotta. Like, I don't care. That's why. Just at least recognize what a great position you are in to even have children. That you should be happy, right? That you should be. Yeah. You know, I was with my friends and they're all complaining about how terrible things are, and meanwhile they're holding this beautiful little baby, right? And I would make jokes about that. I'd be like, yeah, things are pretty rough with your wonderful family and your beautiful healthy boy. What do you? I mean, do you want the baby to die? What's wrong with you? I don't know. I feel like people like that are just asking for it. You want it to get worse because it can. Okay? You think that kid's fucking... It's not a guarantee. Nothing's a guarantee in this life. You can put as many masks as you want on the kid, but there's still SIDS. Okay? What if I kept saying SIDS? My next door neighbor just had a kid, just a second kid. If I just kept saying SIDS over and over, huh? That's no good. Okay. I've definitely said that in the last podcast. All right. This seems to be a sort of... it's one of those episodes where I cut together old episodes. It's like a flashback episode. So just, well, you know, that's all it is. Well, everything not Asian is a flashback from a previous episode. So I apologize for that. Maybe I'm a little rusty. I don't know what it is. I've been a little weird. I've been feeling a little weird because it's November. It's fucking... Look, listen, stand-up as I know it is pretty dead. I mean, unless I go to Arizona, unless I go to a red state, you know, I got to go, unless I actually go into the middle of the country, that's it. It's over. There's no live gathering, you know, there's no, this outdoor stuff. It's not real, you know, so it's kind of a bummer. So I feel like, okay, I've been a little bit bummed because of that, but at the same time, I have hope. I have hope because, you know, it's going to come back even stronger. You know, it's kind of a coiled spring waiting to pounce, you know. This is a great opportunity for me to rant more and more into the podcast, and people are starting to listen more, so that's cool. You know, so I'm not saying it's all bad, but it is kind of a bummer thinking about, okay, they're going to fucking lock people down for the holidays. They're going to lock it down, and it's going to fucking crush this country, and it's not going to do shit health-wise. It's going to fuck people up health-wise, and that's what's going to happen, because that's what happened last time. Like, see, that's the whole thing. We went into this lockdown back in March under the premise that we needed to flatten the curve after 2 weeks. That became 8 months. Now we're going to lock down again because cases are skyrocketing. And instead of thinking about, oh, maybe there's a second wave, like seasonal flu, seasonal cold, and that's why in the south of the country, like not the country, the southern hemisphere, cases are going back down, just like our cases went down over the summer. Now they're starting to go up because it's seasonal. Has anything to do with that? Also, the fact that you're testing everybody. If you started testing everybody for the common cold, I bet we'd have a fucking an epidemic of common cold. You know what I'm saying? It's like the more you look for something, the more you're going to obviously find it. So I think you have to stop. Everybody's been primed to be fearful of this number. We've got to crush the case number down, crush the number. Right. Okay, that's a great goal. How about destroy the economy? That's a side effect. We're gonna do that, and we're gonna destroy the economy. There are more homeless people in LA now than ever before. There's like bigger. I mean, some of them are like pretty nice. Like, so I mean, they've got fences. They have fucking porta potties. You know what I mean? There's got fucking plumbing. Some of them have like water fountains and shit. I mean, they're like building their towns around resources, which makes sense. That's what you do as a settlement, right? I've played Civilization. You settle by the river. It all makes sense. I get it, but that's what's going on now, and that has nothing to do with the pandemic. I mean, if there was a pandemic, they should all be dead, those people. There should be less homeless people now. They should be fucking dying in the streets, but they're not. They're immune because they already had it, just like the Asians. Okay, and that is, if you're going to get anything out of this beyond the jokes I may have told the last few episodes that I'm repeating now, is that Asians are dirty, and that's why they're immune. It's not because they're wearing masks, and they're not white people, but they are doing better. So maybe they're the new white people. So here they go. Asian is the new white. That's that episode 2 and 2. Asian is the new white. That's what we'll talk about. Well, listen. The weird thing is, like, as Asians, if you kill the game and you succeed, you lose your color. But if you're, say, like a black entertainer, then it's interesting because you still get to be black but rich at the same time. But I guess it's because you became successful through the appropriate or, like, socially acceptable means, like the way, like, you can be an entertainer or a sports person, and you could retain your color and retain your status, low status. It's like the high status of being a low status person is retained as long as you fit these acceptable molds. But once you step out of that, if you're like Thomas Sowell or Candace Owens, then no, you were grouped in with whites. So entertainment, that's the key. That's the key to remaining having high status, low status, right? That's the key to having everything. I mean, and this is not old. This is all stuff. I mean, Malcolm X was talking about this. There's a clip. It's like a clip I've been thinking about that I remember seeing about him talking about black entertainers as being seen as leaders. Here.
I told you a little while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear. And it is an honor, actually, that they endorsed Dr. Martin Luther King and were against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's actually an honor. Now, when you say that they also, in this same Newsweek poll magazine, I think the pollster said that he went into the Negro community and asked about the Muslims. And many Negroes whom he asked said, well, I never heard of the Muslims. Who are they?
This is the rank and file we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. Now, when they got down to the rank and file, this was the answers that they got. This is equivalent to the situation in Kenya during the Mau Mau uprising, when many frightened whites in Kenya, Africa, would go among the Africans and ask them, what about the Mau Mau? And the African would say, I never heard of them. And the same white man who would ask the African this question and very naively believe what the African said when he went to bed that night, he would lose his head. And usually the one who took his head was the same African who told him that afternoon he had never heard of the Mau Mau.
Except in the Newsweek poll, they used Negro interviewers.
You'll find that oftentimes Negroes are as much on guard around Negro interviewers, who usually represent the bourgeois element of Negroes, as they are on guard around whites. Usually Negroes know that when this bourgeois Negro walks through the door, he is not doing something that he's initiated himself, but he's involved in something in which the white man is the absolute author of and has sent him to the Negro community for some information. And when they give that Negro some information, usually they give him the information that they want him to take back to the white man, because that's who he's going to take it back to.
Wow. So that's interesting. I guess one of the main differences nowadays is you can find plenty of white entertainers who are considered white leaders, and that might be why our empire is destroying itself. That might be why, once all these but I do love the disdain that he's like, comics, comedians, ugh, which is the right way you should be thinking. What's also funny is that the position of Malcolm X is now pretty much that of like a conservative. That's actually like pretty much the typical conservative position. And also, just the idea of like telling people, the pollsters, what they want to hear, like the secret Trump voter, and also why the polls are all out of whack. I mean, all of this stuff is from 1963 or some shit, 1960 something, and it's 50 years later, more than 50 years later, and it's prescient, and it makes sense. And so that's interesting, right? Like Aquafina is a person of color, and she can talk black. She could talk black until that article came out about how she needs to drop her black sand. But so maybe she could find some kind of ching-chongy. Maybe she could be like, hey, I'm a Aquafina, now this is how I talk, because that's the right way to do it. I mean, it's a really incredibly like more racist in some ways, because you're only a this if you act like this. Otherwise, we're going to put you in the white camp. Otherwise, you're there with white. Well, I don't know. Maybe America is such a great country because anybody can be white now. Okay? Maybe that's what the real goal is, to truly, the top of the mountain is to become a white woman. So it's everybody's goal in America to become a white woman. Even white women. And then white women who decide they don't want to be white women may decide to transition or whatever, but I think a lot of times even men, they have more fun becoming women. The male-female tranny is much more visible and much more in your face, and they're much more the ones demanding all the things, demanding that I stop saying tranny and all of that, right? Like that is the position of the white woman. The white woman can tell us all what to do, right? But now Asian is the new white, so maybe we're going to have a lot of tiger moms out there. Wow. I don't know what that would be terrifying. I mean, it was sexy and terrifying. Okay. So there you have it. What am I talking about? Today, what did we discuss? We talked about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going up. Bitcoin will probably continue to go up a while and then go down and then go up again. It might go up, it might go down. It may go sideways for a while and then definitely either go up or down. So just remember that. Put some money into it. You know why? You put some money into it right now as an insurance policy, just as a hedge, just a tiny little bit. You put a tiny little bit. They're saying right now that Bitcoin could get to 100K. That's 10x, right? So just put in like $100. Put in $100, you get 10 times that. That's not bad. That's not a bad deal, right? It's not a bad deal. Of course, by then the dollar might be worth, 1/1000th of that. So then you kind of break even. So so whatever. I'm not. What am I? I'm white now. I don't do math. Okay. But anyways, Bitcoin is going up. Cases going up as well. Cases are going up. They keep going up. Will they keep going up? They might go down for a bit. They did. Then they'll keep going up. If we we could stop testing. Cases will go down. They might go up. They might go down. None of that really seems to matter because cases have nothing to do with hospitalizations and death. Let's not talk about that. Seems like despite the data, deaths going down, lockdown's not making a difference. We're going to do it anyway. Philly, the great city of Philadelphia, should be burned. Great city of Philadelphia is telling people they're banning all public and private gatherings of any size indoors. I don't know if that's allowed, right? Newsom was just caught spending, Having more people over than is allowed, right? So we're going to just see the hypocrisy of our leaders, the rules for thee, not for me, and all of that. We're going to see all this hypocrisy go down, especially now over the holidays after locking people up for over 8 months, 8 months or whatever, locking them down, telling them they can't see their families. Good luck. Okay. Let's see. And I want to see our leaders actually do that as well. Let's see them put their money where their mouths are. And also they all have mansions. That's the other thing. They're all rich. I mean, okay. Not to say rich people don't deserve to have families or whatever, but come on. What we're going to see all kinds of shit come out of people, of the leaders who've told us all to lock down, not see our families, seeing their fucking families, seeing all of it. And I'm telling you right now, you think it's a foregone conclusion. Everybody thinks everything is a foregone conclusion right now. Like, just say that, but there's a boomerang coming. I tell you, there's a boomerang coming. I don't know what it is. But there's something coming, man. It's in the air. I can feel it, and it's going to upend a lot of stuff. And it's basically, like I said, life hits you fast, and you think it's one way, and then it's another way. And so I think people who are so sure of their reality, they're so certain that this is the way things are, and this is the way it's going to be, and it's a done deal, and let's all live like it's, it's a Biden presidency now, and let's all live. Man, things will just come and fight. Things just come out of nowhere, man. Might just catch you right off guard. And I shit you not, by 2 months from now, we could have people open rebellion in the streets, or maybe just people making out in the streets, violating lockdown. Maybe just people making babies in the streets. Okay, that could happen. Red and blue getting together, making little purple babies everywhere. One can only dream. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Rojan Kim cast. This has been episode 212. Let's, give me a follow. Give me a shout out. Give me a whatever, like, subscribe, review, all that stuff. Find me on Instagram and Twitter. I might be moving, though. I'm starting to hate that. Do I have to go to Parler? Is that where all the white supremacists are? Maybe I'll go there. I don't know. Find me on the Apple and the Googles. Find me on the Google. Find me on Spotify and all that stuff. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.